Hello, welcome to Neon Lights Roleplay, to the premiere of Gelgelim, a Yiddish fantasy gone rogue. Danielle, take us away.
I would love to. Thank you so much. Hi, I am Daniel Osterman. I'm the facilitator and setting designer, I guess, for Gelgelim. I'm super glad to be here. My Neon Lights debut, my AP debut. Daniel Osterman, she, they, and I would love to, for each of my fellow people who are here co-creating with me, to introduce themselves as well. Names and pronouns, and I think on the overlays, you should also be able to see their character names. We get those listed off, and then I'll talk a little bit about the context of what we're about to do.
Right.
Let's see, it looks like AJ's in the, or TJ, excuse me. TJ is in the top left, I think. Go right ahead.
Hi, my name is TJ. I'm going to be playing Alexis this game. What else? I think that's all I'm going to really talk about right now. Oh, pronouns, he, him.
Great. Perfect.
All right, that takes us to me. Hey, everybody, it's me, Sir Hecklot. Tonight I am starting this campaign with Eleonora, and both of us use she, they pronouns.
No, it's my spot. Yes.
It is. Yes.
Hey, everybody. I am Turk, or Turk accented, down in the deepest pits of your heart and soul. Tonight I'll be playing Shaw, who both he and I use he, him pronouns.
Hi, I'm Janie. I'm playing she, that, playing Layla, she, her. Did I do it right?
Yep, that's it.
One.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm John. I go by either no pronouns or they, he, and I'm going to play Jan, who also goes by he, they pronouns.
Perfect. So let's talk a little bit about this game. It's a little bit different than something you might have seen on this channel or elsewhere. So Gelgelim is a Yiddish fantasy setting that we are exploring with Kazumi-chan's amazing tabletop role-playing game, Rogue Second Edition. Rogue Second Edition is this beautiful mix of like what we might call OSR style of gaming and story games. They're taking a lot of inspiration from a lot of very popular PBTA games with a bunch of like retro clones and mishing it together into this beautiful, beautiful mix that I have taken and then added a little bit of, well, a lot of like Jewish mysticism and Jewish folklore as we explore this alternate version of, well, Riga in approximately 1630. Our wonderful players here are members of a found family, tenant farmers who have come relatively recently to Riga, some fleeing potentially murder and shame and tragedy, others like stepping away from codependent and possibly toxic relationships, but all coming together and living not in Riga proper, but in Ubroka, which is, well, you could call it a suburb of Riga. It is the estate that is owned and operated by the current Burmeister, the leader, or the city administrator of Riga. Now, you all have been in Ubroka, we'll say 6 months, and it's been a lot of work getting like your cottages up to stuff, prepping the fields. It is, we will say, it is in-game the same day that it is today, which is the 28th of February, the last day of Black History Month. And so we'll say it is February 28th as well in 1630 in Ubroka, in the, well, actually not even the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, which is everywhere pretty much to the south and the east and the west, but not here and not to the north. You've been in Ubroka 6 months. You work in your houses, prepping your fields. You've got your winter crops are just about ready to harvest, and you've got your family's, we'll call him the patriarch Ibrahim, who's a refugee from an Ottoman invading force. Well, the descendant of refugees from an Ottoman invading force that was here 100 years ago. Ibrahim, who has sort of gathered all of you under his in the umbrella of his family, and he needs some staples, a couple of things that'll help the farm be a little bit more productive, a little bit more successful come spring and the major sowing and the major harvest then in late summer. And with a lot of trepidation, he has asked all of you to take the one wagon that he shares with the other tenant farmers who work at Olbroka to go into Riga and pick up a couple of staples. It's, even with the cart, it's a couple-hour trip, so not too long in the scheme of things. But you will need to spend the night.
I'd like to nominate myself to be driving the carts, since I am fairly competent at actually doing that sort of thing.
I believe you.
I am
Not
also
to-
happy to nominate you.
Oh, yes, I imagine you want to sit in the back and look at your charts. And the rest of you would likely want to rest because you have many things to do, I'm certain.
No, but I still rest.
Well, whatever you're going to do, give the horse a slight pat on the rump and then, give him a little kip.
Okay, awesome. So you don't actually have a horse. That is a little bit more valuable than you have at your access. You actually don't even have a mule because the mules are also too valuable to send on a little errand. So while you are taking the cart, you are needing to push it yourselves.
Yeah,
Because that's the
push.
level that we're at here as tenant.
Never mind,
Animals.
everybody out.
So you're welcome to drive, but you're just sort of sitting while your adopted siblings are pulling the cart and doing all the work.
Get everyone set in the car.
Everyone's taking arm.
It's like the camera is like set and he hit and then it's nothing in front. All right, we're at Dartport.
I want to get out of the car. I want to steal.
I mean, you got a cart because the cart's not in use right now, and it's helpful to bring things back. But the animals, what if they get a stone in their hoof? We don't want to risk it. We're about to need them a lot. After harvest, we're going to have to do a whole bunch of replowing and everything. We've got to take care of the animals. Also, the animals are shared between you and a dozen other cottages. It's actually not even your animal. It's the Burmister's animal. So it's
Change of plans.
Yeah.
Wheels?
I will lead the way if someone else wants to pull the cart.
Say that once more, Danny.
It has wheels, right?
Yes, the cart has wheels.
Oh
Excellent question.
no.
Cart does have wheels.
We can
They're
only
either
afford
round-
squares.
Yeah,
No,
they're
they're
not squares.
octagons.
They're rounds. They're not octagons. My goodness, they are round. We might even call them circular wheels.
Do I have my rope with me?
You have everything, everything that you're proficient with, and you're welcome to take that with you.
So in my mind, the cart is just two wheels, a box, and then some rods going forward for somebody to push, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Oh, I'll
Yeah.
lead the way and clear any rocks.
I'll take first shift of pushing this.
Y'all are going to push it. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Okay.
set up if it's set up how I'm thinking it is in mind, it's meant for somebody to have a
Yeah.
bar to be pushing on.
Exactly. You could put an animal there, but you also can just have a person at the bar and trundling along. Not rickshaw style, but very similar to how our rickshaw might be, although that's thousands of miles distant from where we are right now. Right. So it's a couple of hours. The road initially is it's pretty shit. Not paved, it's just a dirt road, and it is the end of February, so there's not much snow, but this particular road is there's some good ruts that you can get your wheels in, but it's you make pretty good time, and it's just before noon before you get off of the crappy road into the really nice gravel road that leads into Riga proper. And you traveling there another say another half an hour or so before you hit the queue. The big line of all of the people who want to get into Riga. And most of them are, well, they're tenant farmers like yourselves, or like Ibrahim and Sara. They are, some of them you can tell are a little bit, their clothes are a lot cleaner. They've got some like really good bright colors. Maybe a couple people have some embroidery on them as well. Like these are like posh people who are also queuing at the entrance to the city of Riga. Now you've been to Riga before. You've been. It's been 6 months. You've been to Riga to get some supplies, not often, but like you've gone a couple of times. And this line is moving a lot slower than it has in the past. You're probably like 20 or 30 parties from the the anti area, and it's taking a long
time. I very quickly, I think probably not even like maybe like 10 minutes or so after we arrived, Jan very quickly gets very impatient and is gonna be like, come on, and is just going to start walking, kind of leave the cart, start walking towards kind of closer to the city gates to see what the holdup is.
Jan, where are you going?
Well, I mean, this is clearly we're clearly not going anywhere, so I'm just checking out the situation. I'm just seeing what the problem is.
Could someone go with him?
I'll go.
Perfect. Thank you.
So Jan and Eleonora head sort of circumventing the line or going to see what the fuss is. So the entrance into Riga is actually, it is a bridge over a moat onto a man-made island in the middle of the moat, and then another bridge from there into Riga proper. And the holdup pad is happening on the island. Now you can sort of like, you can get up to the bridge, and it's only like 40 feet from there onto the man-made island, so you can see what's happening. And it looks like there are normally soldiers there, and they collect the toll that you pay to get into the city, but they're being really, really thorough in like checking the wagon that's coming in, like making sure that what is there is actually what's supposed to be there. They're asking a lot of like really invasive questions of the wagon driver, who's looking quite bedraggled at this point. You can't quite make out what is being asked, but you can tell that like there's these guards have like a stick up their butt, and they're being really obnoxious with it.
I'd like to, if I can, I'd like to go up to the whoever is the next card in line after the one that is currently being processed.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Would they be close enough for me to assume that they are in earshot of like what's happening there? They might have some better idea of what's going on.
Sure.
Yeah. So I'm going to go up to whoever looks like the main person in that group, and basically, do one of those things where I'm just kind of going to walk up to them, kind of stand next to them, like still kind of looking towards the guards, so as if I would just randomly happen to be in the same space as them, and going to do some kind of offhand comment of like, this seems worse than usual.
Yeah, absolutely. So the person that you sort of step up next to is a who is this person? Who is this person? So this person is has the robes of a priest, Catholic priest. He turns to you, like, my child. There is. Have you not heard what has been going on in Riga of late?
It's been a couple days.
The archbishop is ill. And well, the Archbishop has lived a very good and long life, and while, God willing, he lives longer still, it might be the end of him and an end of an era for Riga. And, well, there's a lot of people talking a lot of talk, and, well, the knights up there, the soldiers are, they're just being cautious, making sure nothing untoward happens in the city. I'm sure everything will be fine. We just have to be patient, trust in God's plan, and all will be well. He's gonna start, he's bored out of his skull. He's clearly been standing here, waiting in his line for hours. His shoes are very worn. He would really like to be in the city, but he will happily talk your ear off about mostly nothing, just stuff that he saw on the road and how it reminded him of the majesty of God's creation. And then he'll he's gonna try to transition into talking about you and your faith.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I think, and so Hex, since you're also there, I think you might know this look on Jan's face of clearly after the first couple sentences, I think Jan is already done with this conversation of there had to be a Catholic priest that I'm ending up next to who wants to talk to me about the bishop. And I don't know how you would usually if those are situations where you would kind of jump in, you can tell I already have lost any interest in getting any information out of this guy, but I'll for now I'll entertain him enough to kind of to not be rude, but we'll also very much deflect any questions about myself, I think.
Yeah, I mean, very similarly, well, not very similarly, I feel like I start the conversation listening very enthusiastically. This is a very curious person and just kind of wants to know a lot about the world. Is hearing a lot from this, very wisdomous person. But then when he starts asking more questions about us and is specifically about faith, as someone of the Orthodox faith, he just kind of shrinks a little bit and maybe tries to look for some type of excuse to maybe have to go back to the cart.
Yeah, I think at one point maybe even this might even be mid-sentence for the priest. If he's trying to do small talk with us, I will just I will say something along the lines of I still don't get it. Do they think having more people in the city will hasten the Archbishop's return to his creator, or This seems excessive. This seems excessive, honestly, for the situation.
Yeah.
Also, I do actually want to, if he ever mentions it, or if he doesn't mention it, I do want to ask him how long he's been here, specifically here in this spot, in the second spot.
So in the second spot, maybe 15, 20 minutes. But he's been in this line for quite a while. And the person in front of him has a fairly large wagon with a lot of crates and barrels, and these soldiers are just being very thorough and checking what is actually in each of these containers, and so it's just taking an inordinately long time.
If I just counting the amount of carts or parties between this and our cart, can I do a quick calculation of assuming let's say half an hour per group, how long would that take us to get into the city?
So taking a look, it looks like this particular cart is the most packed of stuff.
Okay.
So the other the people between you and the entryway is they probably would not take quite that long, but you'd be here for a couple of hours.
Alright. Well, I mean, I'm done here. I don't know if you want to exchange any more pleasantries with this person, but
Yeah. We'll say that like this conversation has dragged on long enough that finally the guards are satisfied and they like wave the cart on through the wagon on through, and they look to the whoever's next. Ah, yes, Father, come on in. Welcome back. And the people who work behind the priest look at you sort of like, cutting? Is that what's happening here? Do we have to fight you because we've been in this line for so fucking long?
Actually, no. Did they check the priest's cart as thoroughly?
Priest doesn't have a cart. Priest is just walking.
Just on foot, right?
And they do not pat the priest down. That aspect of security culture is modern, not 17th century.
Wave some, hands over him, the sides.
Yeah.
You sure
Some sort of
Someone's going, wee wee.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I assume that you're not going to try to cut in front of these people, and you're in fact going to go back to your place in line.
yeah, I think on our way back, I'm just gonna say to Eleonora, all right, Eleonora, I'm willing to listen to 3 arguments why we shouldn't find a separate way, find a different way into the city. And you can think on that. You can think on that, but my patience is wearing thin.
I mean, we're on a little bit of a deadline, so I'm not entirely convinced that we shouldn't find one either.
Good. We're in agreement then. Let's convince the rest of the group as well. Yeah. So we'll report back. Looks pretty grim. Looks pretty grim up there.
Grim.
Well,
I mean...
grim as the face of a bunch of soldiers who are on a power trip, think they have nothing better to do than inspect every single speck of dust that people might have in their cart. Oh yeah, also the Archbishop is dying, I guess. But
Naturally.
Unclear. Wait, did they? No, yeah, they didn't say right what the Archbishop is dying of. Yeah,
Just sick. Just he's sick. He is almost 100 years old at this point, so like him being sick is not unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
Were they looking for something?
Okay.
The priest did not say, like, one might surmise that like they're looking for some sort of contraband, things that you're not supposed to be taking into the city, but what specifically that is, like, is unknown at this point.
I look back at our... Do we even have anything in our cart?
Nothing in your cart, because you're taking things from Riga back to the farm.
I think if we waited online, we should be just fine.
So can I sit in the cart?
No.
It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, for now, sure, but when we're pushing it, no,
Okay.
you're gonna be up here helping me push. I'm not as strong as I used to be. Come on.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I would like to not spend the night on this road, which is a possibility.
Like, just midday, so even if it takes you like, even if you take like 6 hours, which like it should not take you 6 hours, you'll be in the city like just after nightfall.
I am.
You will not.
I am deliberately over-exaggerating.
Okay.
I'm gonna sit in the cart and just like relax in it as much as I can.
What
So
are you
just
what are you proposing, Jan? Should we cut in front of these nice people?
There's other ways into the city. I say, as if I know other ways into the city. I don't actually know if I
Yes,
do.
of course. And
Here's the fun fact.
And...
Is that Riga is designed as a fortress, and so this is the only land entrance to the city.
You will accomplish what many military missions have not.
Like, if you wanted, you could go around the walls of the city into the Daga River and float the wagon to the harbor and hope that you manage to sort of steer your way in and then don't get hampered by the soldiers who are at the harbor.
just saying there are options. I'm not saying that they're necessarily better options. But,
Yeah, well, y'all figure this out. I'm gonna take a nap.
well, I mean, I'm glad that you're all comfortable here. Yeah, I think. I mean, I think you can tell that. Like, I mean, we've all spent time together. You know that Jan is mostly complaining, but rarely acts on those complaints. So like, I think the usual strategy is just to kind of leave them be, and like in like a couple of minutes, I'll probably just shut up.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a way in the city that we can keep the cart with us as well, though.
Maybe there's a way we can accomplish a little bit of what we're trying to do while in line. There are many merchants and farmers coming into the city. I imagine some are even selling the wares we're looking for. I can stay and mind the cart and talk with the folks who maybe come after us. The rest of you maybe go and try and talk with the people here.
I'm just making sure the cart inside is safe.
I am very capable of protecting our cart, and I don't like. I wrap the side of the cart with my walking stick.
How old is Shoal?
Not old, not like old, but like starting to seriously gray.
Old
Probably
enough.
like 50, like 50s maybe. Who knows? Might have
These are
missed.
definitely that's gray already.
Yeah.
That's
I
not
probably
beginning gray.
like 40, late 40s then in that case.
Okay.
Yes, but see, you might need me to because I'm younger. I can just kind of help watch over you.
You want to sit here and do nothing? I can't change that. I can just stare at you discerningly and tell you about the good old days.
I can stare. We could have staring contests.
No, I'm not good at that. You should get out of the cart. It's good for you. Stretch your legs. Be young. You're only young once. Oh.
So, who would like to go about and see like what deals you can cut in line versus just waiting until you can get into the city?
Before we do that, what items were we looking for specifically?
It is a laundry list of items that I have not itemized, but it is farm stuff that you have been asked to get.
Tools, fresh seed.
So it's gonna be like
Manure.
it's gonna be seed. It's gonna be you need a new plow. You've got like there's a like you've got some other requests from some of the other tenant farmers as well. Like they need some drinking vessels because the ones they've have gotten have rotted to where they're not like capable of holding liquid anymore. Picking up some salt because everybody's out of salt always. So it's a host of different things. You could probably source some of these things in line, but the full list you'll need to go inside the city proper.
Okay.
Who's usually holding our coins? Like, who's the treasurer of the group?
Who's the most responsible person here?
Because I will say I'm definitely not Jan is definitely not the most responsible person here, but Jan is I think probably the person who like most fashions themselves as like some kind of merchant, like having like wanting desperately to not look like a farmer. So.
This is a fair point. I don't know how many of you like. All of you can read and write. That's pretty but not necessarily well. And Jan is probably, as a former alchemist, is definitely probably the best at reading and writing.
I'm fine with Jan holding the coin purse. As it were.
Great. Well, off we go then. What about Alexis? What's your take on the situation?
I mean, I'm definitely planning on going with you to make sure you're not getting swindled at any point. Former businessman keeping an eye on somebody who doesn't know the price of things and may just be like, oh, that sounds fair. So,
Yeah, I think probably in your experience, I think it's less that Jan doesn't know the price of things, but I think Jan is prone to buying things that we don't need for other purposes. So
Yeah, it's just to make sure you're getting. I'm going more so to make sure like you're getting the fair deal, and if at times just to be like, no, we can get better than that. Go lower.
yeah, we don't want to repeat of the time when I spent most of our budget on what was supposed to be Greek volcanic rock, but ended up just being a bunch of charcoal.
Yeah. You don't need any vitriol. You don't need any aquavitae. You just
We're just keeping it simple.
keep it simple.
You hear that, Jan?
I'm always for keeping it simple. Things are very simple. It's just sometimes you need different ingredients. Anyways,
Great. You go off between the two of you to give me a roll, just sort of to see like how you're gonna be able to find some of the things in the list, but like how successful are you? So I love a roll for that. So Rogue, we are rolling a d20 plus a d6, and then the more things that are in your favor when you're making this roll, the more d6s you'll roll and you choose the best of them. So here, do either of the two of you have anything like advantageous to sort of help you befriend people or like figure out what it is that they have versus what you need and like?
yeah, I mean, so I personally I have powers in both heart and logistics, which I feel like both of which might be relevant here.
Likewise.
Oh, you have those as well?
I
Okay.
also have the powers in Decipio is what we went with, right?
Yeah.
And
So I don't know
have that
if
as well.
like Decipio is going to be as helpful here, but I definitely think that logistics.
Yeah, the
would
heart
be-
and logistics.
Yeah.
I think logistics is probably the better of the two. Because like the best thing Heart could do is like, hey, I get a strong impersonation from him, and they end up being nice to me because they like me, right?
Yeah.
Where logistics, it's like massage the financials would kind of fit more for that, of just making sure everything is
Yeah.
fair deals.
Do you want to do the role? It feels like you're probably the one who's handling the logistics between the two of us.
Sure. So I am gonna use that power though as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that this is an excellent use of the power. I asked that you cross the market off, and while normally with powers you just succeed, here this isn't really a question of success, it's a question of how much success you get. And so I'm still going to ask for the roll, but I will absolutely give you, actually give you 2 additional dice for using your power in the situation. So to be a d20 and 3d6.
Okay.
We are looking to get 15 or better.
Okay, so I definitely got that because the D20 is a 19.
Okay, great.
Of those, the 4 for the.
Okay, cool. 23, more than okay, excellent. So you are like the folks, you were able to accomplish like 60% of your list in the couple of hours that you're sort of working your way up and down the line. Talking to brisk trade, you get a really phenomenal deal because you've got you're using your power here. You get an excellent deal. You're saving a little bit of money. You're actually going to have like a handful of groschen left over, you think, at the end of the trip. So while they're off, like wheeling and dealing and haggling, the rest of you have anything to do to pass the time, or shall we just move forward to you, like at the checkpoint?
I would love to try and make a positive impression on the various people nearby the cart. If anyone comes in, just be like the helpful, like, oh, we sent some people ahead already. We can save you a walk. Soldiers just be an extra, be like a little, just make small talk with people about the situation, about the weather, about if they look like they're farmers. Try to be the pleasant older person.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, everyone here in line is really bored, so having someone who is a decent kind of conversationalist is gonna like endear you to a lot of people, especially like because there are a couple of folks who are trying to do exactly the same thing that Jan and Eleonora did, where they're like, "What the fuck is happening with this line?" So absolutely, you make some, like, I'm not going to call them friends necessarily, but you make some very positive contacts.
Absolutely.
You know, most of the people that you're interacting with are tenant farmers from other other hamlets in the states nearby. But you meet a couple of people who are actually like Riga city residents, who are these people? These people are. We'll say these people are. There are a couple of trade apprentices. These are shipwright apprentices who were visiting family and are attempting to return to the city and are now just stuck.
Yeah, I want to kind of like ask them how long they've been out. You know, how is their family? Also, with the other farmers, I'd love to try and pick up, you know, how they're feeling, the crops are doing, and especially what their feelings are on the next coming season. If they've heard any news or new cool things.
I mean, there's not a lot of developments in agricultural tech in 1630, but it never hurts to ask. It never hurts to try. Absolutely. So, you know, what they're feeling about the harvest is pretty commensurate with what you're feeling. A couple of people from further south have been saying that they've been seeing some like funny things happening. So there is just a little bit to the south along the Doga is Kirchholm, which is a small settlement on an island in the middle of the river. They've been saying that there's some like weird stuff happening over on the coast at night sometimes. There's an old castle from the Livonian Order that like they've been seeing some spooky stuff happening over there. I'm not really sure what's up with that, but also they don't really want to touch it. And in terms of the shipwright, so we'll say the one that you're sort of is most talkative is named Yana, and she's based in Riga, and she's a shipwright. So she's been an apprentice in Riga since she was, probably 11, 12. So it's been 5 or 6 years that she's been an apprentice. She went and she visited her family for the for Christmas holiday, and then it's just takes time to get back. Family is not super close to Riga. She got the apprenticeship through like family, like kinship connections, because like her parents obviously are not in Riga, but like her mother has a sister who live in Riga and lives near the harbor, and like hooked her up with a sweet deal. She's very excited to be back in Riga, away from like Podunksville. She's like at this point, like she's like 17, 18. She's like very excited about living in a city and like being one of the fortunate few who do. But she has a really good time talking with you, and like I'm sure you got some like good stories as an old man.
Oh, absolutely.
And like they're not the stories that she's heard a couple dozen times from her like her the crafts folk to whom she is apprenticed. But yeah, she's like, yeah, if you're ever down in like the harbor area, you can come and like look her up and like you can get lunch somewhere.
Oh, it's very generous.
She's not going to pay for it, mind.
Oh no, of course not. But still, hey, that's your friend.
An acquaintance.
Yeah, acquaintance. That's more fair. Connection. I'm in with the ships. Shipwrights. It's our first business connection.
So we're going to move forward time a little bit until you're actually the ones being checked out for entrance to the city of Riga. Like you do now have some things in your cart, so it takes a couple of minutes, but you don't have a lot. The guards are like, just a reminder, do we have any Jews here? Great. You are forbidden from spending the night in Riga unless you're at the Jews' Rest.
Yes, as usual. Don't worry.
The rest of you, like, whatever, they don't particularly care. And then they are very stern about wanting you to stay out of trouble. And like they're looking at all of you, especially the two Jews, like, no nonsense here. Who is that? Jan
Yeah.
and Shawl. Jan and Shawl. Yeah.
I will say with like a clearly like sarcastic tone, but we'll see how these soldiers are taking it. I will say, oh, and I was I was looking forward to having a lot of trouble, causing a lot of trouble in the city.
I give him a little rap on the wrist.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Edward, please ignore him. He speaks through his ass.
Maybe clench it, because we don't need any trouble here. Now go on through.
Can,
We will certainly
Layla,
try.
can Layla use her stealth and just go into the city as they're talking?
You definitely can go on ahead. They sort of wave you through. But in terms of like sneaking past them without using some sort of magic, like they're without using some sort of magic, and it's because it is like early afternoon, it's quite bright out, and they're being very like particular to like know who's going in. That would be challenging.
Okay.
But you are waved through, and you are in across the final bridge into the city of Riga proper. It's only been like probably 6-7 hours since you left home, and finally you're at your destination. You are in it's sort of the city gate area, which is a bunch of which is sort of a fairly broad avenue that heads off to the east. There are a bunch of cramped, like, tenements, storage yards, stables for beasts of burden. The Jews Rest Inn, where at least the two of you will need to stay, is just the next neighborhood over. The Jews Rest. In terms of things that you can see from entering the city gates, there are 3 very large, very impressive churches and cathedrals in the city that you can see immediately. There's a little bit of a canal that separates you from most of the rest of the city, but the Church of St. Peter is just over the canal. The Dome Cathedral, Pride of Riga, is just past that, and then St. James Cathedral is over on the western side of the city.
All right, we've made it in finally. Kept the threats to a minimum, also very good. Aside from some of you. We still have a bit more to get. Either way, we could try and secure lodging, at least some of us can. And the others can try to finish the list.
I like it.
All right, well, I'll go see about getting a room, perhaps. Go, the rest of you, you do not need to stay with us, but I'm sure there are nicer inns somewhere else.
I definitely think Alexis would start making his way towards the town square or to try to get more of the list completed while there's still daylight.
Absolutely. So much of the like things that you have left to do are not necessarily to be found at the square, but like roughly like where the like appropriate workshops that you need to go hit up are. It'll take you probably from now until nightfall, but you'll be able to get the rest of the things done on the list. Now, before you split up, one thing that you do notice is that there are a lot more soldiers here than you're used to seeing. Like, that the folks at the gate were like being real assholes, but there are a bunch more And these soldiers in particular are the sensible defenders of the city. These are the Knights of Livonian Order. And there are a bunch more of them than you remember seeing here in the city gate and then in the foreigners' quarter next door. They're all got their they've got their tabards on, showing very specifically who they are. You are also seeing there are some other soldiers who have a different tabard, and they're traveling in groups of 2 or 3, and they're not being super they're definitely giving the Livonian Order soldiers a wide berth.
Does it seem like the other soldiers are keeping? Are they being suspicious of each other, or
So they're not could you ask that question in a different way?
Yeah. Okay. Well, so you said that the kind of the unfamiliar soldiers that we're seeing, that they're giving the Knights of the Order or the soldiers of the Order kind of a wide berth, but how about the city guard essentially? Do they seem like they're keeping a close eye on these people?
They definitely are.
Okay.
They definitely are. This is a very Sharks and Jets type vibe. These people clearly know who each other are, and there is no love lost between them. But they are also very obviously separating themselves from each other.
Yeah.
What symbols are on their tabards? Is there anything we recognize? Is it? I mean, can we even tell if it's a religious styled order like the Livonians?
I definitely can look that up and tell you. It is not something that you recognize, however. That I can tell you. It is not something that you recognize in terms of what it actually looks like.
Okay. And I mean, so obviously the Livonian Order is here to keep quote unquote keep peace in the city. Do these other soldiers, can we tell if they have any purpose here, or are they just kind of hanging out?
They appear to just sort of be hanging out.
Okay. Fascinating. I will quickly note. I think while some of us are finishing up the purchases and everything, I think whenever Jan comes into the city, I think he makes a point of checking in with his I don't know what kind of what the academic circles would be here in the city, but kind of checking in with some of them to kind of get the news about the intellectual world and anything like that.
Sure. Let me take a look. So there's not the closest thing to sort of an academic or learning society would be the Granadan Order, based in a Granada house down in the town square. And they're not just because they are an organization of Granadan merchants primarily, but and that's sort of the biggest concentration of learned folks who gather socially.
Yep. Do you think I would have any rapport with them? Do I have an established relationship with them, or?
Given that you're relatively new to Riga and the outskirts, and they would definitely need a character reference to let you in the doors in the first place. That is something that I think you definitely are aspiring to get, but not something that you have acquired yet.
Okay. So then I will amend my statement of I will, since I don't have any established contacts here, I will do my best to awkwardly hang around, the places, their gathering places, and make it appear like I belong, and maybe at some point they will accept my presence there.
Okay. So you're not going to be able to get inside proper, but you're very welcome to hang out outside, and you are not alone in doing so. There are other people who would love to be members of the Granadan Order, who are doing something very similar. So I've put a link in sort of the private chat, but for the audience, on the symbol on this other group of soldiers is yellow, and it is a bull's head with a crown on it, which is very, very different from the black and white cross of the Livonian order. But Jan, while you are down in the main square, the Granada by the Granada House, now the center of the Granada Order, you see again both groups of soldiers are like in the markets, giving each other very, very wide berth.
Maybe we can like check in with maybe even as we're doing our shopping, we can check in with some of the locals here to see if anyone has any insights there.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, Heck and Janie, what are the two of you doing while these other folks are, well, shopping and lodging and putzing?
Yeah, I mean, Eleonora would probably be helping figure out the lodging, because I'm not sure if all of us are planning to be in one spot or if we're planning to split up. If we are planning to split up, she wants to find somewhere like still very close by, because she doesn't like being very far away and split up.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Jews Rest, which is in the foreign quarter, like there are other inns, because that's sort of the space in the city that's set aside for folks who don't live in Riga but who are staying and overnighting. So there are a number of taverns that you can, or inn that you can stay at. You probably don't have the money for a private room at the inn. You're going to be sleeping on the floor with everybody else. That's sort of normal. But absolutely, there are. We'll say there are 2 other inns in addition to the Jews Rest that are within that neighborhood.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll just choose whichever one of those seems to have the.
Yeah, sure.
I
will. Yeah.
But yeah.
Perfect. Eleonora and I can probably go into the foreign quarter together then.
Yeah, that sounds good. And in addition to that, so are we seeing any of the newer soldiers in that quadrant at all?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. In fact, there are more of these newer soldiers there than there are Livonian soldiers.
Okay. Does it look like they're gravitating to like any one place, like a resting place, or?
Yes. In fact, one of those 2 inns that's there.
Okay.
So one of the names of the inns is Bishop's Choice. They are not hanging around Bishop's Choice.
Okay.
They are hanging around the other inn that has a name that will come to me momentarily. We'll call it the Boar's Tusk. That seems appropriately like, yeah.
I don't like the look of that.
Okay. All right, so those notes are taken down. So, yes, so Alexis, as you are doing your shopping and asking questions of sort of the locals, you get the lowdown. Like, these are people. This is the hot gossip. So these are apparently soldiers of what is his name? I was just looking at it. Of Johann Albert II, who is the son-in-law of the Archbishop. Now, he is the... what is it called? Yes, he is the Duke of Zemgala, which is the duchy sort of to the south.
Do we know anything about the relationship between the two?
I mean, we not a lot. We know that this is like probably the first time that Johann Albert has been in Riga in years. And it is also, he brought a lot more soldiers than one would normally expect from like a normal friendly visit of a son visiting his sick dad.
Yeah. It's all fine. It's all fine.
So
Yeah, it's fine.
Like-
It's all good.
I would definitely like look into the rumor mill a bit more and just be like, oh, so you think he's planning on like overthrowing everything right now? And just trying to take control for himself?
They're definitely like people like don't want to talk about like that aspect as much because that is a lot scarier to like contemplate and deal with. But you definitely get the vibe that like there is like as soon as the Archbishop dies, like there is going to be conflicts. Johann Albert II is Lutheran. The Livonian Order, the soldiers who are ostensibly charged with the protection of the city, are Catholic. Furthermore, like while the Livonian soldiers are like responsible for city defense, the Livonian Order is not in charge of this area. Their castles that set up are somewhere else. They used to like a couple hundred years ago they were in charge, but they've not been in charge for quite a while. Haven't seen or heard much of like the Livonian Order leadership, but how would you know? A soldier is a soldier, right? They all just suck.
Interesting. Well, we might want to get what we need to get here faster and get out of the city while we can.
Yeah, and you have heard that like the burgomaster, who is not in charge of any of these bands of soldiers, is also like begun like ordering like weapons, armor, sorts of things that you would need to like supply a militia. That's the rumor anyways. Like obviously you're not talking to people who sell weapons or armor, you're talking to like leathersmiths or like leather crafters who they don't make armor. That's not really what they do, but they're happy to make you like sacks and straps and shit. So they don't know like firsthand, but like that is the scuttlebutt, is that the burgomaster is also like arming up and preparing for some kind of armed conflict.
Yeah, it's coming from the rumor mill, so take it with some salt, but
You can take it with a grain of salt. Like
I hope you bought some salt.
definitely
Not yet.
salt
It's on the
is
list,
attached
though.
on the list. Exactly. Don't eat it before you get home. Save some for the rest of the family. But Janie, what is Layla doing throughout this?
Well, it looks like everybody has the shopping under control. I'm pretty sure there'll be a moment where she realizes everybody is doing something useful. So, she's just going to sneak off, which she can do because one of her powers is stealth.
I mean, you can just sneak off without even using that power. Like, people are not paying you, like, folks much attention at this point.
Okay, and where can she go? Not to get in trouble, but where are people like actually having fun?
Excellent question. So as a relative stranger to the city, you don't know firsthand like where people are going to have a good time. But you can bet your ass that it's probably not here in Foreign Quarter. Like what kind of fun are you looking to have? Like
Just
are you
where-
looking Go ahead, please.
People possibly drinking, gambling.
Solid. Okay, so there, you would expect to find that closer to the harbor area, because we've got a lot more sailors coming in than like caravan folk coming in, and you can definitely make your way down there. It's a bit of a walk, but there is inside the city wall proper is No, it would not be in the city wall proper. So there are a couple of taverns that are on the docks, so they're not inside the city wall, but they're sort of mostly accessible to the sailors. And then sort of it's a rougher part of town, definitely, but also probably where the most fun is to be had. If that fun is drinking and gambling and dancing and like press ganging people.
Well, what she's going to do is do some of that, but also kind of just eavesdrop, just because there's nothing better to do.
Absolutely. All right.
And she can eavesdrop pretty easily.
Yeah. Absolutely. And like at this point, it's getting into early evening, and so the sailors who are there are like starting to like do the hardcore drinking as opposed to the casual drinking that they had been doing during the day. So it's not hard to just like sit and like soak stuff up. If you could get a couple of groschen, you could probably buy some people some drinks, which would earn you a couple of friends in the morning. Someone you could return to later.
Is there a lot of security there?
No. Like security, as in if someone catches you, they will get their friends and beat you up.
So could I steal it?
This is a game called Rogue. Yeah, absolutely. Like, what are you looking to steal? Yeah, absolutely. Are you looking to like just like pick the pockets of a couple of sailors? Are you looking to like shake down somebody in an alley? Like,
just pick the pocket of a couple of sailors.
Solid. So there are some like pretty significant consequences to success. So I'm going to ask you to roll for this, unless you have a power to use.
Stealth or no, agility. Pick
one. I don't know all of the power names. Like what
agility is the one where you can take something from someone.
Correct.
Oh, take something from someone. Perfect. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You are welcome to invoke that power and take some. Absolutely. You get a handful of groschen from some poor drunk sailor's pocket. Just mark off the use of that power. And yeah, you've got some groschen. You can buy some people some drinks, and people are very happy to take your money, and more importantly, to take your alcohol. And yeah, you make friends. Yeah, absolutely. So you make friends with a couple of. Go ahead.
Just use that. Wrote down that I use that skill.
Exactly. You can use each power. I believe it's 3 times a session. Yeah, 3 times a session. So you'll be back up to 3 uses when we meet in 2 weeks. Okay, people that you meet in this tavern, the harbor. We've got these are folks from far away. Well, relatively far away. So you meet a pair of very tender sailors. We've got Hugo, and we have what is the name of the second sailor? Janusz. So Hugo and Janusz are like super in love with each other, super happy to share the joys of that love with anybody and everybody who asks. And they are your best friends. Love this Layla coming here, buying us drinks, and spotting us for a couple of card bets that like we should have won, but those fuckers were cheating. So they are from Gdansk. They're here for like a couple of days, and then they'll be making the trip back on their ship. And from Gdansk, they are... What are they bringing? We'll say that they're bringing a bunch of cloth. Like, loads and loads of cloth and other, like, fabric goods, hides, that sort of thing from Gdansk here for crafting. In terms of things, like, what they've heard around the city, the soldiers are not nearly as the Johann Albert's soldiers are not really present in the docks area, so they've been interacting with the Livonian soldiers, but they definitely notice that like the soldiers are more of a pain in the ass than usual. Like there have been a lot more fights with the soldiers than there normally are. Like normally, like sure, like once or twice, like once, like one, every 1 or 2 trips, like there's a big fight. But it seems like folks have been having a lot of trouble with these the Livonian Order, like cracking down on people just having a good time.
Okay, and none of them are there now, but they have been cracked down.
There are not soldiers in the tavern where you are currently, no.
Okay.
Like there are still some soldiers like in the harbor docks area in general doing their patrols, etc. But none in the tavern with you present, and they would know better because that's asking for trouble, walking into a tavern full of a bunch of drunk soldiers.
Okay, she's going to find that out, and she's going to like compliment all of their fabrics and stuff and be nice. She's not going to steal from them. She just wanted to steal to give people drinks.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that's a it's a victimless crime. Like that sailor that you stole from didn't need the money for their drinks. Absolutely not. You needed that money for your drinks and your friends' drinks. Absolutely. So they are they will happily like spend the next many hours drinking. It's really up to you as to when you want to like stop stealing money from people to fund your friends' drinking habits and like return to your family.
For a couple of hours, and then she'll return, thinking that hopefully they're finished their shopping.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. I think at this point it's probably it's dusk. It's fast approaching night. You've accomplished your various errands. Who is staying at Jew's Rest and who is looking for lodging elsewhere? So obviously we have our 2 Jews. You've been segregated to living to rooming at the Jew's Rest.
Makes the choice pretty easy.
It does, yeah, absolutely. You don't have to make a choice. It's great. It's the other 3 of you that have to choose. Do you join your family in the Jew's Rest? Do you try your luck at the what do you just call them?
The Bishop's Choice or the Boar's Tusk?
Thank you. Exactly. The Bishop's Choice or the Boar's Tusk.
The Bishop's Choice is the one with all the soldiers going to it, right?
No,
so
they
Boar's
were
Tusk.
avoiding that one.
Okay.
So, well, it turns out there are soldiers at both of them. They're just soldiers from the 2 different camps.
Oh, great. Okay.
So with that in mind, it's an easy
Oh.
choice for me. I go with the Jews.
Yeah, I don't want to go to either tavern with a bunch of.
Think of the
soldiers.
fun gossip.
Mm-mm.
Fun gossip, also military people that I don't want to be around.
I mean, who doesn't want to go like sleep on the floor with a bunch of cops? That sounds like
Yeah.
such a good time, right? Right?
Layla was going.
I mean,
You're not.
we're not stopping you.
Yeah.
No, we're not stopping
Absolutely not.
anybody.
I will
but
never stop.
To the one with the Archbishop's nephew
Yeah.
soldier.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Boar's
cool.
Tusk.
Boar's
Yeah.
Tusk, absolutely.
Son-in-law. Right.
Okay, perfect. So we will handle the rest of them, and then I will move to you because you have the most interesting stuff to have happen, probably. So the 4 of you who are at the Jew's Rest. So the innkeepers of the Jew's Rest, Holst and Hadassah, like you've seen them before. Like you've not had to stay overnight, really, but like as the Jews, you know the other Jews. These are the only Jews who are allowed to like live in the town, and well, dinner is technically kosher. That is the only positive or neutral descriptor one could apply to the meal, is that it is technically kosher. You can eat it.
You're really
is
selling
edible.
this.
It is
qualifies as food.
like, and Hulse knows that the food that he's serving is absolutely like it's bad, but he's like, I don't get quality ingredients.
What do you want?
I get
This is what you
I
got.
get last take. I do exactly what I can with what I get. You know, you can get me better produce, I can make better food.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But barring that, like this is at least it is food that you can eat.
I will say, Alexis definitely took a bit of money and might have bought some apples while there, because we had extra, so why not get something nice,
What I will say is that the only apples that are available right now, because it is the end of February.
They're not great apples.
They are
don't
not
get me
good
wrong.
apples.
They were
These
cheap
are-
apples.
They were cheap apples. But these are the apples that you harvest and you store in a barrel in your cellar until you need fruits.
Salted
But,
apples.
Yeah,
It's still a nice dessert for this meal.
but it is
For the
absolutely a nice dessert for the meal. Absolutely.
Yeah, I imagine in my head, they're like already have like several wrinkles on them and discolored a bit, but they're still just at that point where they're still good apples.
Oh yeah, they're still good apples. They're still good apples. They're still like, well, they're pretty more on the mushy side than the crisp side, but like they still taste like apples.
You gotta
Yeah,
chew them less.
They're more applesauce than apple, but yeah.
And Eleonora would definitely like make it a point to say, well, that was really thoughtful of you, Alexis. Thank you.
Do we get like an idea of if the kind of the local Jewish community has picked a side in this whole thing that's going on in the city?
The local
Yeah.
Jewish community is just Holst and Hadassah because they're the only two Jews who are allowed to live permanently in the city.
Okay.
And they're only allowed to live in the city because they operate the inn that the Jews are allowed to stay at.
So
like-
they specifically then.
They specifically are. I mean, you speak in Yiddish with them, so they're happy to like tap. You can talk because you actually like real humans, opposed to those fucking Christians. So they're fucking terrified. They're like, this is like the Jews in Riga. Like, we have not had it good, but this could be very bad very soon. Because usually when there is an armed conflict, the Jews are the ones who get killed first. So they're not super pleased about what is shaping up to be happening, especially since the other two taverns in their neighborhood are very strongly partisan.
Yeah, not taking a side makes both sides think they're on the other side.
Exactly, and so they're trying their best to just like keep everyone just not have anyone pay them any attention and just like keep to themselves, keep really quiet, and hope that whatever this is blows over and leaves them mostly untouched.
What do they feel about the Burmisters faction kind of also potentially also gearing up for conflict?
They're like, they don't want conflict to happen.
Yeah.
But they also like of the better the devil that you know than the devil that you don't know. And they are familiar with the Burmester. And the Burmester is like has been essentially like not fully in charge of Riga because there's politics and there's a council and a bunch of nonsense, but as the main civil leader of the city, he's had that job for a while. He's not done a shit job of it. This Duke of Zemgala from the south, like who knows? Who knows? The Livonian Order, like. If the Livonian Order makes a serious play for Riga and like trying to take like not just military control but political control of Riga, like that could get very ugly. Like the Livonian Order, like they haven't done any crusading since the thing happened 100 years ago that made the forests dark and mysterious and all kinds of weird spirits to come around. So like they've not done any active crusading since then, but like they did before that do a lot of active crusading like here and abroad. So in terms of like all of the Christians to like have on your doorstep, the Crusaders is probably not at the it's on the top of their list.
Okay. So good thing we took the time to make friends with a whole bunch of sailors and shipwrights if we needed a way out of the city.
Yeah,
True.
Very convenient. So that's sort of like the news. Now, Layla, over at the Boar's Tusk. So, I would like you to imagine fascist bar, because all of the patrons are these soldiers. There are like one or two other patrons who are just like here. They're caravanners. Maybe they're guards for a caravan, or they're like porters of some kind, and they're here for the night or a couple of days perhaps. Then they're looking to get the hell out of Dodge. But you can tell by talking with the tavern keeper that these soldiers have been here for a couple of weeks, and they don't have anything to do, which is not so great for like his furniture and for the safety of his neighbors. Like you can see there's a lot of like furniture that is mismatched, that has been hastily repaired. The soldiers they're not armed, but they are still wearing their tabards, and like they're all drinking together, and there's probably like 30 or 40 of them in this tavern, looking to have a very good rowdy time. Yeah. Anything you'd like to do? Ways you'd like to inquire further?
I think I'm just going to listen without being seen as much as I can.
Yeah, they're happy to sort of just let you vibe in the corner, without sort of engaging them in conversation. It's going to be harder to learn any sort of specifics, but you definitely get the sense that they are waiting for something to happen, and they've been waiting for quite a while, and they are very looking forward to being done waiting.
Do I think it's Archbishop that is what they're waiting for?
I mean, I think based on the information that you know, I think it's a very fair assumption.
It doesn't seem like a safe situation, so
I don't. Yeah. I think returning to the Jews' rest for the shitty food, but at least no soldiers, is probably like a solid choice. But like, information learned. Okay.
And I'll have
So I am looking at the clock and realizing that the time has gotten away from us. So I am going to call it here. We will pick things up in the morning with whatever is going to happen in the morning. I don't know. I decided it's a sandbox. I don't know. So I just wanted to thank all of you for being here. I wanted to thank all of our listeners for being here as well. Let's see. And then our next game will be in 2 weeks. That is looking, it's in March. It is March 14th. We should be starting a little bit earlier, actually, around our scheduled time. Just first session, you know, things get out of hand sometimes, and I show up really unprepared. And like, what's a ring light? How do you make a ring light work? So before I sort of shout out as the last day of Black History Month, we're shouting out at the end last here, like Black and Indigenous people, folks of color, and all of the really cool and amazing work they're doing for tabletops. But before I get to that, I just want to have all of my wonderful, amazing like players here go around, introduce themselves one more time, and make a mention as to where you can be found.
All right. So I'm TJ. I played Alexis. Where you can find me is in 2 weeks here. Outside of that, I am not in anything else. If you want to see the dumb things I like on the internet, you could follow me at Mr. Rogers_TJ on Twitter.
Hey, you like some really funny things sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like Evan Hansen said, you will be found.
So good. Hey everybody, it's me, Sir Hackalot. You know, tonight I played Eleonora, sorry. I'm all over the place. I had a pathology exam today. My brain is scattered.
Oof. Oof.
Yeah, I had a lot. I had a lot to do today. You can find me on all of the social medias at Sir Heckalot, including Twitch, Itch, Twitter, Instagram. I'm everywhere. Just find me. It's the best place to figure out where I'm going to be in the TTRPG space next. But in terms of here, you can find me here for Cold Hands, Warm Hearts, our Frost Maiden campaign, as well as Oathsworn Odyssey of the Dragon Lords, which is going to be coming back real soon. Oathsworn is every other Monday, and then Cold Hands is every other Friday. There's a little special thing that I'm doing on Saturday that I'm going to shout out. You can actually find me over on Plus One EXP. I'm going to be playing in Viva La Queer Bar. I'm so excited. It's a slice of life. Bunch of disaster queers living in a, well, not living, but being in a bar of some kind, which is going to be really fun. I'm very excited for it. Other than that, yeah, you can find me on Lost Caravan RPG every once in a while. You can find me over on Dat Magic Juice's channel doing a Tyranny of Dragons campaign. There's a lot in the works, so just follow me on social media. And lastly, I do want to shout out the charity that we're still raising funds for the very tail end of Black History Month here, is Black Girl Ventures. It's already in the chat, but yeah, it is a nonprofit that seeks to put support, capital, and opportunity in the hands of Black and Brown identifying women. And it's going to be a great segue into the charity that we're doing for Women's History Month this coming month, so stay tuned. That's way too much for me. Let's keep on keeping on.
Don't worry, because I'm next, and I am always on camera this month, it seems. Hi, everybody. I am Turk, or Turk Accented, on your camera and your screens. Like I said, you're seeing a lot of this face, which is, unfortunate for you. I was, of course, playing Shawl, the elder farmhand, I guess, of the group, the steady hand at the wheel. If we had one of those, we just have the front of the cart, though. So maybe one day we'll have a wheel. Anyway, I'm very glad to have kicked this off. Oh my gosh, over such a short period of time, there's so many fun little hook threads to get onto, and I'm very excited. If you want to see more of me and what I do, tomorrow with Heck, it will be the finale of Icon over on Lost Caravan. That's been really fun. I play a vastly different character. I am very much the problem child there, which is good to release. It's also got very emotional last time. It'll probably be just as emotional this time. It's just been real emotional. It was all like, oh yeah, happy fun times. Then wow. So if you want more of that. Speaking of happy fun times into deep emotional states, we have Oathsworn on the 6th. Which is it's the epic Greek fantasy meets high level RPG, aspirations to high level RPG level content that we do right here on Neon Lights, that I've managed to, with the excellent assistance of my fellow storytellers, bring back for a second season, and it's been real great. If you missed the first episode, I'm sorry, but you can catch us the second episode, because don't worry, a lot of the cast forgot all the lore too. So we'll be explaining things a whole bunch if you haven't seen any of the previous run of it. Beyond that, I'll be over on Lost Caravan for Tales from the Loop on the 8th, which is a really fun, coming-of-age stories in the 70s that never was. I am also over on Lost Caravan for a Impossible Landscapes campaign every other Thursday. The next session will be the 9th, hopefully with the full team. It's been real good. I've almost already gone past my breaking point. And our handler has really pulled out all the stops in regards to messing with our heads, including pulling vocal clips from our last few sessions. So, fun for me. Of course, we'll be right back here on the 14th. That Sunday before will be our third and maybe ending session of the Nova game we've been playing over on Lost Caravan, which has been really fun. If you're familiar with Slayers, obviously Nova, another great game. And we'll be right back here. And we'll return and find out what happens in the morning. I'm really concerned for this Archbishop's health.
Hold on a little longer, please.
just somewhere out of the city, okay? Just somewhere out of the city, maybe. But yeah, this has been so fun, but I've been talking entirely too much. Make sure, of course, if you got a chance and you have the capability to support the charities that Nightbot is linking, and check out the creator that our wonderful facilitator is going to mention at the end of this circle. Anyway,
I'm talking too much. Janie, please take the mic away from me by force.
I don't have nearly as much to say.
You don't. Just anything would be good.
But you had like a whole credits from the like an end of a.
It's not good. I don't sleep anymore. I'm just a character prep.
Just because Turk is a workaholic doesn't mean you should feel any shame, Janie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
have on social media, and I play games. I like to run games, and I played Layla, who I guess is not quite. I don't know. Everybody else is doing all the work.
I would disagree. I think Layla's doing a lot of work, and I think Layla's going to get everybody into a lot of trouble, probably sooner rather than later, based on like what has happened today.
Yep, it's gonna be great. Also, I just want to shout out, Janie does great work over on Singularity Roleplay, so go check that out.
All right. So, hi, I'm Danielle Osterman, the facilitator here. If you want to find me, you can find me over on Tumblr, ostermad-blog, at least until I change it. I haven't changed it yet. I'll change it eventually, I'm sure. You can also find the games that I have written, some of which are for the setting that we're playing in right now, which is wild, at my itch.io page, dubdubpub.itch.io. That's me, and now I would like to close out with our wonderful shout out to Strix University, which is an all-black actual play series that has a ton of looks really phenomenal looking sort of like dark academia vibes. I highly encourage you to go check it out. It's the last day of Black History Month. I think it's like the least all of us can do is to go check out Strix University, watch an episode or two or all of them. They are starting, I believe, their new season, I think, relatively soon. So definitely keep a lookout. They are on Twitter at TheStrixU, and they are also, the facilitator is at BlackGirlMage, and I think you should definitely give both of those folks a follow and check them out and watch those series. That's it, I think, for all of us. Thank you so much for being here, and oh, is it not it?
I was like, John, did you want to shout anything out?
That's all right. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not. This is the only stream that I'm on, so I don't have a big thing. No, that's all good. We'll close it out. I'm John. I played Jan, the ill-tempered semi-intellectual, and I'm also a game designer. You can find my stuff at john-east.itch.io if you like stuff like Chainsaw Man or D100 tables. That is what you can find there, and that's it.
All right. Now, thanks all for being here. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Have a good